Ladies and gentlemen, Behind the Line proudly presents to you another exciting rendition of the woke turning on the woke. This special episode is brought to you by Beulah, the world's largest manufacturer of vertical transportation systems, or as normal people like to call it, elevators. Do you have a family member struggling through the traumatic disease of obesity? Do you have a child aspiring to be the next Lizzo? Are you having a difficult time finding adequate means of transportation? If so, call Beulah. We manufacture and design elevators to the specific needs of our clients. Beulah elevators are designed to handle up to 2,000 pounds of gross weight, or 2 Lizzos. Give us a call today at 800-BIG-BOODLE. Oh, no, the Lizzo. Oh, how quickly the deacons have turned. It amazes me sometimes how fast deacons at Woke United Methodist can turn on their loyal parishioners. All it takes is one violation. All it takes is one allegation, and your access card is revoked. No more Sunday morning confessionals praying to the woke oak tree. No more Friday afternoon sessions with the emotional support shovel. You don't even have to be guilty of violating the woke commandments. In some cases, the birthing person being charged, they're actually innocent. But it's not about guilt or innocence. It's not about discovering the truth. All that matters is the allegation, or as Jesse Jackson likes to call it, the alligator. Over the last few years, one of the biggest leaders at Woke United Methodist, and the term biggest applies in a couple of ways here. She is literally the biggest while also being one of the biggest advocates. But one of the biggest leaders pushing causes for the deacons at Woke United Methodist over the last couple of years has been Melissa Vivian Jefferson, better known to her rapidly dwindling fan base as the Lizzo. The Lizzo checks multiple woke boxes. She was the perfect advocate. She chooses to identify with several marginalized groups. African American, check. Presumed woman, check. Requires the assistance of Beulah elevators for transportation, check. Just like her sister in woke Megan Rapinoe, the Lizzo has used her special talents to change the world. She was front and center in the fight against mythical racism. She used her platform to promote girl power. She pretended to push female empowerment. But one of her leading causes, one of the areas that was extremely important to the Lizzo, was this fabricated movement that she called body positivity. I remember growing up, they used to have programs for body positivity. It was called Weight Watchers. Today it's called Weight Gainers. The Lizzo tried to make it acceptable to be unhealthy and overweight. If you were brave enough to criticize her message, you were hit with multiple violations of the woke commandments: mythical racism, mythical misogyny, and fat phobia. I've even seen extreme cases where someone who was critical of the Lizzo was accused of being an ableist, which was confusing to me. I've always thought ableism was the discrimination of people with disabilities, discriminating against someone who is paralyzed, discriminating against someone who is blind or deaf. I didn't know that consuming 3 dozen donuts qualified as a disability. The Lizzo has built her career on the disability of body positivity. You know how Emeril Lagasse promotes his delicacies on social media? The Lizzo does the same thing. She proudly flaunts her steaming rolls, giving plenty of material for lonely men to spank the wanker. Through years of promoting obesity, the Lizzo has always been praised by the mainstream media. The media claims that the Lizzo is brave for refusing to hide her true self. That's not bravery. That's impossible. The media, they have been complicit in the promotion of this unhealthy lifestyle. They turn Lizzo into the ultimate victim anytime someone comments on her body. And look. I understand that some people struggle with their weight. I don't think it's right to make fun of people with weight issues. But in the case of the Lizzo, someone who proudly flaunts their weight publicly, someone who pretends being obese is positive and healthy, you kind of lose your victim status when people point out the obvious. The same media who has spent the last few years glorifying the Lizzo is the same media who was quick to turn their back on her in her time of need. Headline over at the Daily Beast: Lizzo was never as progressive as we wanted her to be. Beyonce, another supporter of people struggling through the disease of ableism. Beyonce was performing a song the other night which made reference to the Lizzo. Due to the allegations that surfaced last week accusing the Lizzo of being a fat-phobic ableist, Beyonce removed the Lizzo reference from her live performance. I guess Bey didn't want to trigger someone in the audience who was struggling with body positivity. So we've got the mainstream media turning on the Lizzo. We've got woke celebrities turning on the Lizzo. But that's okay. That's okay. The Lizzo can always rely on her passionate fan base, right? She can always rely on the people who gave her the financial means to transition from Melissa to King Kong. Her supporters, they would never turn their back on her, right? For those that aren't aware, there was a lawsuit filed against the Lizzo last week. There were some serious allegations included in this lawsuit. Most of these allegations are dealing with hypocrisy. The Lizzo puts on this nice front publicly, promoting obesity and body positivity, but behind the scenes, she allegedly chastises her employees for gaining too much weight. Apparently, the Lizzo doesn't want her backup dancers to get bigger than she is. The lawsuit was initially filed by 3 women. After the lawsuit was made public, more women have come forward to detail their experiences working with the Lizzo. Last year, a filmmaker worked with the Lizzo on her documentary, Love Lizzo. Perfect name for this documentary since there's a lot of the Lizzo to love. The filmmaker quit the project after 2 weeks, claiming the work environment was too toxic. My inside sources tell me the term toxic here has 2 meanings. The atmosphere at work was toxic because the Lizzo is difficult to work with. The air was also toxic because the Lizzo cannot control her own flatulence. She's like the whoopee cushion on The View. There were a lot of allegations included in this lawsuit. I'm not going to sit here and rehash all of them today. If you want further detail, you can watch the video I published earlier this week. Oftentimes, though, when a mainstream music artist finds themselves in the middle of a controversy, the controversy can have a positive impact on their music career. Back in the early 90s, Tupac Shakur was starting his rap career. His first 3 albums sold around 6 million copies combined. His first album sold, I think it was less than 1 million copies. His next 2 albums, they managed to go platinum. Now, during that time, Tupac was more of a social and political rapper. He was rapping about teenage mothers. He was writing songs like Dear Mama, dedicated to his own mother. So Many Tears, Keep Your Head Up. These were uplifting, inspirational rap songs. Fast forward to 1995, 1996, Tupac completely changes his image and he becomes a gangster rapper. He actively participates in a media-driven controversy between the East and West Coast. He releases his 4th album in the midst of this controversy. It goes diamond, sells over 10 million copies. The controversy boosted his music career. So, how has this latest controversy impacted the career of the Lizzo? The reason I use Tupac Shakur as an example here, it's because he and the Lizzo, they've got something in common. They were both putting on public images of something that they're not. Tupac wasn't a gangster. He was a poet. He went to a school for performing arts. He was a mama's boy. The gangster lifestyle, it was something that he presented to the public. Same thing with the Lizzo. Body positivity, it was an image she presented to the public. Combating mythical racism, that was an image she presented to the public. Being the ultimate victim, that was an image she presented to the public. If presenting a fake public image worked for Tupac Shakur, same thing should work for the Lizzo, right? Right? 24 hours after this lawsuit was filed, the Lizzo lost 170,000 followers on social media. Past couple of days, that number has grown to over 220,000. But what about her record sales? Surely her records have seen an increase in sales, right? According to Illuminate, the Lizzo was averaging around 2,000 sales per day as of last Friday. Now, I'm assuming that means each of her songs was averaging around 2,000 sales a day, which that is not a bad number since she doesn't have a new release. The Lizzo has an extensive catalog. If each song is selling on average 2,000 a day, Lizzo's making a lot of money. Once this lawsuit was filed and became public, sales of Lizzo records declined to 30 a day. From 2000 to 30. That is a massive, massive decline. I got to admit, I was wrong here. Going off past history, I thought this controversy would benefit the Lizzo's career. Over the last couple of weeks, the mainstream media accused Jason Aldean of mythical racism, and he launched to #1 on the Billboard charts for the first time in his career. How come the Lizzo's not seeing the same result? I think this further proves that normal people are tired of the hypocrisy. People are tired of the inauthenticity. Whether or not these allegations against the Lizzo are true, it doesn't matter. I saw one article claiming that the Lizzo is being negatively impacted by the writer's strike in Hollywood because she can't go on all these woke talk shows and explain her side of the story. Couldn't she explain her side of the story on social media? Who in the hell needs the yentas on The View when you can reach millions of people on Instagram? The problem here for the Lizzo, her side of the story does not matter. Because people have already made up their minds. People have already decided that the Lizzo is guilty of these allegations. And once you lose public support, it is damn near impossible to get it back. I think we could be seeing the beginning of the end for the Lizzo's music career. Like I say all the time, building your career on a gimmick is not sustainable, especially once your gimmick is exposed. The Lizzo's been exposed as a hypocrite. She's lost all credibility. I don't know if the Lizzo can recover from this. What do you think? Can the Lizzo recover? Can she resurrect her music career? Or is this the beginning of the end for the Lizzo? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.